What is it, partner? This is the last one, and he's the only thing between us and Marco. His name is Glanton, an old scalp hunter who came here to slaughter 80s. Story on him is that he used to kill tribals for the NCR, but over time he got carried away and was sorta disowned by the brass. Before teaming up with Marco, he supposedly exterminated an entire tribe south of Vegas, not far from your neck of the woods. Glanton and Marco certainly seem like an odd pair, but it worked out for both parties. Marco hates 80s, Glanton likes scalping them. Bingo! We have a good idea on where Marco's holed up, but I'm not going to move on him until Glanton is out of the picture. He's simply too dangerous. This ain't a ragtag band of shitbirds either. Glanton's crew will fight you tooth and nail, so be ready. The good news is that Glanton still has one hell of a bounty on his head. It's 10,000 caps if you bring back his finger. Any questions? We're almost there, partner.
evildoer. One step, just one more step, and I pull the trigger on this detonator. There are a half-dozen kids taken from the 80s in the adjacent room. I've wired the room, so don't try anything. Randall sent you, didn't he? He won't stop until he's buried Marco in the dirt. I can respect that, but I'm not Marco. I'm walking out of these mountains, and nobody's stopping me. I'm not going to die up here on behalf of some miscreant like Marco. Let me pass and the kids are yours, safe and sound. Push me, and I'll pull the fucking temple down on both of us. Fate is fickle. I'm no longer welcome in the Mojave, so my options were running out until I received a letter from Marco. Though it seems absurd now, Marco was attempting to establish a higher form of order in Frost Hill, though nothing I'd call a government. I suspect he just wanted a quiet place to retire, so marauding raiders couldn't be tolerated. Thus, I was hired to solve the 80s problem. My solution was complete. The 80s will no longer tread in the Deep Creek Mountains, or at least not for a generation. Marco paid well enough, but I am uneasy working with the man. He exudes an indescribable malignance and cunning I've never encountered. I have long been at odds with his various cronies scattered throughout the canyons, but I now suspect Marco will remove me at the first opportunity. He is planning something, and I doubt I am included in his vision. You have certainly simplified his plans by purging all his hangers-on. They were a troublesome, restless lot that had an uneasy relationship with the town anyway. Marco may have planned it all along. Wise choice. I'd make a quip about seeing you again, but I think it's better left unsaid. Goodbye, courier.
Prepare to face summary justice.
Crazy person.
How you doing? What is it, partner? That's a tough one, friend. I hate to let him go, as I know you certainly do. But no bounty is worth the lives of kids. Brookshire won't authorize the bounty, of course, but I can give you a little something for showing a little humanity. You have my thanks for it. Anyway, we'd best put that behind us, because we've got one name left on our list. Marco. I've still got a few preparations to make, so just let me know when you're ready. We'll round up the posse. The readiness is all, my friend. What is it, partner? Brookshire's got the intel. Go see him for the details. I'll get the rest of our posse formed up. It's time to finish this.
Hey there.
Breathe deeply, courier, and don't strain yourself. I need you alive.
Every bitch. Are you gonna help me move this pile of shit or what? Why don't we just shoot the fucker?
Brooker said not to touch this one or Randall. It's part of the deal. Fuck up and we don't get paid.
Why the fuck are we hauling them to town? When are we getting paid?
Relax, Brooks said we'll get paid once business in town is settled. Here's the Brahmin. Let's load 'em up. Careful, one of them's coming around. Keep that hood on. Here, this should take care of 'em.
What is the meaning of this? You have no right to detain us.
Hell. Cowards! Every one of you is a fucking...
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. You honestly can't be surprised that it's me, can you? Virgil is my favorite alias given the literary roots. Your expression right now, forgive the cliche, but it truly is priceless. If Brookshire had only known what this was worth to me. That's right. Brookshire wasn't inclined to consider the fate of the townspeople, much less you, when weighed against the supply of silver. I'm not sure what your political leanings are, but if you consider yourself a patriot of the NCR, that must really, really sting. In this moment of unforeseen, inconceivable reversal, you must be thinking, how did this happen? It boils down to one simple characteristic, resolve. When you killed Sergio, I resolved to make you suffer to your last breath. Maybe you're thinking of ways to break from your bonds, disarm me, kill the guards, save the day. Not this time. Whatever happens next, you're going to be utterly powerless to stop me. Doesn't that just burn you up? If you didn't have that gag, I can only imagine what you might be saying. Well, I'm a cautious fellow, so I want to be safe. I can't risk any interruptions during my theatrics. Nothing is worse than a disruptive audience. Oh, in case you were looking over your shoulder for companions to save you, I'm afraid it's out of the question. There's no delicate way to put this. I gunned your friends down like dogs, though they fought admirably.
Coward!
Right through the hands. That does look painful. You won't be opening any jars again, much less handling a weapon. Even with the pain, I wonder if you're consumed by rage or dread. Neither benefits you, but dread suggests an honesty that I have to admire. Were you expecting a fair fight? A climactic showdown in the street? Sergio tried it that way, didn't he? My brother had heart, I'll give him that. I've never had a mind for fair fights, though I've won my share. I prefer domination, and most importantly, survival. That's all that matters. You want to speak, don't you? No doubt you have a pithy retort or some eloquent overture prepared that would convince me to throw down my arms. Not tonight. This time you'll be silent, like a dog following its owner. When this is over, you'll acknowledge me as your master. You're going to beg for death. You'll pray to God for it to end, but he won't listen. Only when you pray to me will you gain release. But that can wait. Right now I'm an official agent of the New California Republic, warden of their new outpost in Frostville. In my administration, law and order will be upheld without exception. Why not get off to a strong start here and now?
Please don't do this.
By the powers invested in me by the New California Republic, I hereby authorize these agents of the justice system to collect unlawful bounties. So it was done, all according to the law. Randall, 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 you came so far only to taste the bitterness of defeat again. Deep down you knew it would end this way. Ford, you were quite eager to betray Mr. Randall. Why don't you do the honors? I'm resigned to the fact that I'll have to do everything myself.
You son of a bitch!
Now, what are we going to do with you? I could put a round in your head, make it quick, clean. Then again, that's been tried. I don't fear failure so much as being unoriginal. No, I've got something better in mind. You ever hear stories of drunks being buried alive? Since you're not in a position to speak, I'll take your indignant squinting as a yes, so I'll continue. When a man is buried alive in, say, a coffin, he might have 30 minutes or so to live. Trust me, I know. I've seen it firsthand. It's one heck of an interrogation technique, acting like you're burying them. I leave them down there for a bit, then pull them up. They always come up gasping. A few even lose their minds in that short span. I guess it's the darkness and the noise. Imagine, your breathing is strained, Dust fills your mouth and eyes, and you hear the weight of Earth shifting above you. It's inexorable death. That's why I saved you for last. I want you to feel that terror as you dwell on what transpired here tonight, how you were beaten. No matter how hard you are, the terror will take you eventually. In that moment, when you're wishing for it all to end, just remember, I was the one man who beat you, and that's what people will remember, what they'll say for years to come. It isn't just your body that I'm burying tonight. It's your legend.
Hey, boss, you sure you don't want me to shoot him first?
No, I want the courier to suffer to the last. You hear that, friend? Of course you can, even with that hood on. Is the coffin comfy? Just so you know, I'm putting you in an unmarked grave in the middle of nowhere. From a legal standpoint, you will have simply vanished. You're going to be just another anonymous stiff. You afraid now? Just let it wash over you. Don't fight it. You're so close to the end. I wonder how you might have molded the Mojave if you'd lived. I'm sure people will speculate to no end. They'll forget you, though. They always do. At this moment of acute reflection, I wonder if you appreciate the futility of your efforts. Your mentor is dead. Really dead. I'll face no legal or governmental consequences. Quite the contrary. I'll become a respected citizen, leading this town while the worms gnaw on your rotting corpse. You remember that when the air thins out. If you could do it all over again, would you even come here? So much to ponder in the darkness. Rest easy. Close it up, boys.
And the dead shall rise and walk the earth. Wasn't sure you'd make it, but here you are, on your feet no less. What? Look, you're not dead. I tracked Marco and his boys after what happened in town. Told them aimed to bury you alive, so I watched and waited. Marco cleared out and left a pair of men behind, so I slipped in, took them down with a flashbang and a few smacks with my baton. Then I went digging as fast as possible, found you unconscious but breathing. Lucky for you, that doc had some blood in his stores. I managed to get you up here in the dark. Got that blood in you, then patched you up your hands. You're damn lucky you know that. Yes, every single one, I'm afraid. Some fought, but the hunters were waiting for them when Brookshire hit the gas. Never had a chance. I'm done hunting anyone or anything. What they did, it was simple butchery. God help me. I'll never forget it. The hell of bounty hunters. I knew something was going down when Brookshire pulled us aside before the op. Told everyone there would be bounties on the townspeople. He told us to keep our mouths shut and follow Marco's lead. When the time came, most everyone nodded and smiled, didn't even question him. I had no loyalty to Randall, but it bothered me regardless. Brookshire told us to round up everyone in town that he would handle you. I didn't know what they had in store. I mean, I thought they'd capture everyone and haul them back for a trial. That's what they're supposed to do. I also didn't know that Brookshire would trade you and Randall out. I thought he would just tell you to fuck off in a typical NCR fashion. See, they had me posted at the church, waiting with a rifle, in case you tried anything. I had a clear view of everything, that's for sure. I didn't know they'd kill them all right there. But Marco killed Randall? I should have done something, but I just froze. Marco was in the crosshairs, but I couldn't do it. I was scared. Goddamn shameful fucking coward. That's what I am. Yeah, maybe. I'll have a long while to think about that, won't I? He left town to bury Randall's body. He must have thought pretty highly of him, because the rest were buried in a mass grave. When I last went into town to nab supplies, I saw most of the hunters were living it up in the saloon. Ford was with them. Look, I want to leave this place and never look back. I'm making straight for Mojave, so you're welcome to join me. Let's get the hell out of here.
So it was that the clash between the courier and Marco had come to its conclusion. Their actions had reshaped Frost Hill and irrevocably changed the fortunes of numerous inhabitants.
Shortly before the massacre at Frost Hill, an argument between Cocker and Cuddy resulted in Cuddy actually walking the fuck out the door. Cocker insisted on following Cuddy as he walked out of the Deep Creek Mountains, berating him the entire time. This continued for several weeks, until Cuddy walked to an NCR recruiting station and enlisted to spite Cocker. Undeterred, Cocker enlisted beside his friend and immediately volunteered for frontline duty. Insistent that Cocker was in fact a pussy, Cuddy volunteered for the same.
Unable to retain ownership of the family farmstead, Dana soon uprooted and moved to West Side in the hopes of finding gainful employment. With few prospects, she attempted to provide for her homeless family through prostitution, but struggled to find enough clients. She committed suicide soon thereafter. Her boys turned to begging, then succumbed to chem abuse and prostitution. They died before the year's end.
Unsung and soon forgotten, Doolin was just another notch in the courier's belt. His relatives in California sometimes wondered what became of him, but they ultimately concluded that his outlaw ways had caught up with him.
For all his rage and ferocity, Porter could not cope with the courier's fatal attack. His frozen corpse would endure as a testament to the power of the courier.
Though sure of himself at the time, Lee's decision to fight the courier resulted in quick death. His cadaver was dumped on the outskirts of town, where it was torn asunder and consumed by local predators.
Godwin continued raising bighorners while secretly manufacturing mail bombs sent to NCR offices. His attacks claimed the lives of dozens of officials and innocent civilians in the years that followed. Godwin would never face justice.
Frost continued to move from town to town, always vigilant against the threat of assassination. Eventually, he headed towards the Great Plains, and he was never seen again.
Ford's dream of becoming a wasteland legend died with him in Frost Hill when he met the Courier's wrath. In the final seconds before he died, Ford had hoped he'd earn his own chapter in the next dime novel about the Courier.
Like the Courier, Cooper survived the ordeal of near death and became closer to his new master as a result. He followed the Courier to the Mojave, determined to remain a loyal companion no matter the end.
Just north of Mojave, Thorne said his goodbyes to the Courier and headed towards the setting sun. Unwilling to return to his home, Thorne decided he would reconnect with the followers of the Apocalypse and renew his career in medicine. By assisting the helpless and healing the infirm, Thorne was able to move past the events at Frost Hill. He prayed that the Courier could do the same.
Fresh off his successful operation to annex the Deep Creek Mountains, Brookshire was warmly received by his superiors at the NCR Embassy. After he ferried the surviving orphans of Frost Hill to state homes, Brookshire quietly filed a report that classified the Courier as MIA. For his efforts, he was awarded with a promotion and a special commendation. His agency's director would call him a model for us all. Brookshire then planned his next operation from within the embassy, confident of his success, never considering that the Courier might return.
Avoiding the Courier once again, Glanton found himself alone in a hostile country, so he set his sights toward the arid expanse of Old Mexico. He had heard stories of a tribal warlord, El Quemador, who ruled the distant dunes of the Altar Desert, burning all who encroached in his lands. Sensing an opportunity to redeem himself in the eyes of the NCR, Glanton headed south with one goal: to take El Quemador's scalp.
When Marco heard that the Courier had survived, he appeared stoic, but inwardly, he couldn't help but smile at the Courier's good fortune. Forsaking any further acts of vengeance against the Courier, Marco turned his focus toward rebuilding and safeguarding Frostal. So long as the man in black ran Frostal, few raiders or outlaws had the temerity to tread in the surrounding mountains. Those that did, suffered. Frostal soon flourished, invigorated by waves of new settlers. In spite of this, Marco struggled to repress the malign urges in his being. He married, raised children, and became recognized as a shrewd leader. Nonetheless, as time went on, the wanderlust steadily took hold of him. Over a decade after taking control of the town, Marco inexplicably vanished, supposedly gone to the west, though no one was certain. The prevailing theory was that he had sought out the Courier, hoping to settle their old score with a duel.
Whether through practical self-interest or in an admission of defeat, the Courier decided to forego a final confrontation with Marco. Once word of the Courier's defeat spread, many began to see him as broken, or even cowardly. These insults may have compounded the Courier's guilt concerning the incident at Frost Hill, but it mattered little, because he was alive. Eventually, the events in Utah would be overshadowed by the contest for Hoover Dam, where the Courier's legend would finally be decided.